Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Something different today again. The last one I did was a ginger beer, I think, and today we're still in lockdown, so I'm going to make myself some biltong. I actually got the idea from another person who I subscribe to, Biggles Brewery. I will put a link to his channel down there. I liked his recipe that he used, but this is my recipe here. So let's just go through the ingredients quickly. I'll bring you down. Okay, so we're going to put in equal parts of ground black pepper, fresh coriander seeds, which I'm going to crush, salt, and 2 tablespoons of crushed chilies. So the coriander is 26 grams, which means I'll put half of this, that's 50 G's. So I'm going to put half of that in there, all of this, 30 grams of salt, 1 tablespoon of Worcester sauce in the fluid part of the mix, and then malt vinegar with the rest. So ideally I need to have enough malt vinegar to coat the bits of meat, okay? And then we have a look here. This is the meat that I got. You can normally get this stuff on special, but I wanted to get it today and I wanted to do it today. So I've got just under 1 kilogram of silver side. Not a lot of fat in there, so I'm going to keep this fat on the bottom, but I'll probably trim some of this off the top. It's quite hard, this fat. We'll see. I mean, I might keep it just because I do like my biltong to have a bit of fat in it. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to chop up the steak. One thing I'll do first, quickly, is I use the back end of a rolling pin and a bowl because I don't have a mortar and pestle. Let's do the coriander seeds first. Okay, so this is kind of what you'd expect it to look like. Not all of them crushed, but most of them, you'll see they sort of just crushed open. What we're wanting to do here is we're wanting to release the flavor. Most of these will be wiped off after the soak before we dry the biltong out. So this is more to give a flavor and then wipe off, okay? So that's the 28 grams of that. So next we'll do salt. No, next we'll do pepper. So we'll do half of this, and this is all crushed pepper already, so that'll do. Just half the tub of pepper. Salt. I reckon 30 grams of salt is probably half of that. Maybe not that much. I'm going to chuck a little bit of that out. Okay. And then just the crushed chilies, these are, so it's almost like a flake out of chilies. So just a generous little dobble of that, couple of tablespoons. Okay. Then we get the Worcester sauce. Okay. About a tablespoon. I'm going to put a little bit extra in. Okay. Oh, that is smelling amazing. And then malt vinegar. Okay, then we just give it all a nice mix. A lot of salt and stuff that needs to mix into the mixture. Okay, that goes to one side, and then we'll look into cutting the meat. Okay, so for the meat, you want to cut about 1 centimeter thick, nice straight lines, and you want to cut across the grain. So the grain should, on this piece of meat, be running this way. So if we cut it like this, just like you would cut a steak, then it breaks easier when you're chewing it, when you're trying to rip a piece apart. It just works out a bit more tender, effectively. I need a sharp knife, which I don't have, so I'm just going to struggle with this one. Okay, this is difficult work, so we do like to stay hydrated. Okay. So we'll just take the packaging off the meat. That's literally just fallen off. It's almost like they stuck it back on. Well, it's gone now. Okay, so about 1 centimeter thick. And if you want a rough idea of what a centimetre thick is, that is about the thickness of those steaks that you get from Waitrose and Tesco's and all of them. You get them in the vacuum packed thing and you get 3 packs for £10. So they're not thick, not overly thick at all, but you can see the grain. So we're cutting it the right way because the grain is this way, so it will tear really easily when you want to eat it. So on this bit here, there's not really enough, so I'll probably just leave that. This bit will end up being a little bit more wet, but I'm cool with that. I can leave that piece for last. Okay, so the next step is we get the meat into the container. First thing we do, we put a layer of everything at the bottom which the meat's going to sit on. And there's a lot here, so you don't need to be too frugal. I try not to harness my inner Scotsman here as a Robertson. I just let loose because this is all about flavour, and if you live in the UK, Biltong costs about £50 a kilogram. So this whole thing with all the spices and everything cost me £16 for a kilo. It won't be a kilo once it's dry, so you see there's the layer. It will be probably half a kilo, but £16 is a lot better than 25. And it's on tap. So then we just nestle the steaks in there. Make sure they get nice and covered. Okay, now I'm going for the second layer. So we do the same thing again, get stuff out, or now I can start pouring it. Excuse me. Right. So what had happened there is quite a lot of the pepper was stuck at the bottom. So I've just turned the top steak over so that it's got the pepper is between the steaks rather than just on the top. It's all going to get mixed in at the end anyway because we're going to turn this a few times. But that is now the preparation done. So what you want to do is seal this up, put it in the fridge and turn it every hour or two for a minimum of 4 hours. That will sanitize it, and it starts to break down the fibers a little bit, which makes it a little bit more tender. So I will catch you after this process is complete. Hey guys, okay, so it's the next morning now. So I did the biltong preparation, the meat preparation at around 9 o'clock last night. And it's just gone 7 o'clock in the morning now, so it's been about 10 hours in the mixture. So the first thing I'm going to do is just pour off the excess fluid, then we're going to give the meat a wipe, and we're going to use these, which are actually for hanging biltong. So we're going to put a hook in the end of each piece of meat, okay, and then I'll show you here my biltong machine. It's just a storage container with some dowel rod. It's got a light bulb in there which I balance up on that wooden plinth, and a fan. I don't have an exit hole for it, but the fan will suck air in and the air will escape. This is not an airtight. It's not an airtight container. So what I normally like to do is just lay a little bit of tin foil down on the base, just to catch the extra drippage. It just saves you having to clean up. So I'll do that, empty the meat, I'll just leave the meat to drain here slowly. Okay, let's have a look at the meat. I'll bring you down and we'll try and work on it all here together. Okay, so you have a look at the meat in there. So it's so slightly cured. So now I'm just going to rub off any excess fluid and all the sort of bits and pieces, not all of it, just some of it. So there's a little bit left on, but without trying to damage the meat too much. I don't want to, I want to keep the cut so nice and straight on the meat. And then I choose a side. I think I'll hang it from this side. And it's just a matter of getting this through the meat. There you go. And then that goes in the biltong machine. Just basically want to make sure it doesn't touch anything else and it doesn't touch the meat itself. Okay? So I'll do the rest of that and then I'll come back to you at the end. Okay, so I've got all the biltong hung. I also just wanted to show you, I use these wipes on the inside of the box. So the whole inside of the box is pretty much sanitized before I put anything in there, because that's the only place where any sort of bugs can come from. I've got a filter on the fan and all the air will be pushing out through the seals. So it's whatever's in there at the time, I think. We need to make sure it's clean. So let me show you. So we're going to have airflow coming in there, warmed up by the light. That's just a 60 watt light, and we're hanging on here, not touching, nicely spaced. So the sort of thinner pieces, this one here and probably this one, should dry sooner, and then this real big chunky one, which I may have to adjust because it looks like it's touching the bottom. For now I think it'll be fine. It should shrink up a bit. That one will take longer to dry. One last thing, the sort of history of biltong came from when the Boers in South Africa were travelling, and they used to put strips of meat between the saddle and the horse, and then the sweat from the horse would obviously have salt in it, and that would cure the biltong, and yeah, that's how they cured their biltong. Or that's the story I was told. but I think this might be a little bit more modern this way, and I'll come back to you guys in 3 or 4 days time. Okay, so I've just put it in the garage, just got it switched on. See there, it's not very noisy, but the light is just on. It's resting on that wood there to make sure it doesn't melt the plastic. And there's the meat. I'm not happy about that last bit just touching the bottom there, but I'm going to leave it. I'll come back and check on it occasionally, and hopefully it'll have shrunk up. Yep, so that's the final step for now, and now it's just a matter of waiting. I might cover this with a towel just because of the light emitting. What you can do is put tin foil on the inside, on the sides as well, and it just stops the light from escaping, but it should be fine. It's just in the garage. So yeah. Hey guys, so it's Friday evening, and this is what we got. So I popped in there during my lunch break into the garage and had a look, and the thinner pieces were quite dry. So I took 2 of the thinner pieces, chopped them up, and me and the kids have already eaten them. These ones are, you can feel there's some give when you squeeze it, but they will also be reasonably dry. So next time I think I might go for 2 days. That Biltong machine just dries it out really quickly. The flavour on this is absolutely amazing. And basically I'll just show you what I would normally do, how I would prepare it for eating basically. So let's have a look. Okay, so these are the pieces of Biltong. This is the one that was slightly thicker, and like I was saying, it was touching the tin foil, but after the first day of drying it was already off. After 12 hours it was already off the base, and it was a good inch and a bit off now today. So let's chop a piece up and taste it. So how I cut it is, so the grain is going this way through the meat, so we've cut it across the grain, and then now I just cut slices like this. And if you can cut them nice and thin, you see there's a slight bit of pinkness in the middle. I personally prefer it, oh that's tasty. I personally prefer it a little bit wetter than this, but also a little bit fattier. It's just happened that the piece of meat I had didn't have very much marbling, didn't have much fat inside, internal, intramuscular fat. But that's it. If you can cut it about that thin, make a pile into a bowl for snacks, that with a nice pint, and you are ready to go. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you've managed to take something away from this, and I really hope you guys all go and make your own beer boxes. There is a website called IKEA Hackers, and on there is a Biltong box build, so you could just go there and do that, or if you guys want, leave a comment and I will go through how I made the box that I use. Guys, that's all for now, so have a great one and have a good weekend. Cheers.